now. Last Wednesday or 2 Wednesdays ago, maybe. I can't remember exactly when it was. Was it last Wednesday? The 1A, 2A seedings came out. And then this Wednesday, which will be tonight, at 4 o'clock, the 3A, 4A seats will come out. But and I see Drew, you kind of put some stuff in here too. I'm just gonna put myself out there and potentially see if I can get this right. But my 1A prediction is going to be Father McGivney versus Ottawa Marquette, and McGivney's going to win the 1A state finals. And then for 2A, this is going to be tough. I feel like something's going to happen where like a 5 or 6 seed just makes their way to the playoffs. But I'm going Nashville versus St. Joe Ogden, and St. Joe Ogden beats Eureka in the state semifinals. Nashville will win the 2A championship, and Lucas Dunn will pitch in that championship and beat St. Joe Ogden. So that's my 1A, 2A predictions. We'll see how I do towards the end of the year, but that's what I got.
Well, I like it, and I took a look at it too. I don't think I'm ready to be throwing out any major predictions. We'll see as we get into playoffs, get into regionals, sectionals. Maybe we can do like a final 16 and we can all, pick our winners or something. But I was just kind of looking at the regionals, or I guess the sectionals is a better way to put it. Just seeing, which sectional looked to be the most loaded to me, and what's going to be the toughest one to come out of. And I thought there were a lot of intriguing ones, just starting with like the 2A. That Decatur sectional I thought was pretty loaded. Some of the best 2A teams, especially in the past, 5-6 years, if you're not just counting this year, are in that sectional. But Monticello jumped out to me, with an arm like Ike Young. They've got a guy who's going to be pumping, 90 to 94 on the mound for Monticello as their ace. That's going to be tough for anybody to beat. St. Joe Ogden, I feel like, is probably one of the deeper teams in the state. Like, they've got a number of guys they can hand the ball to, and offensively, they're one of the deepest groups in that class. And then you got Normal U-High, who to me is extremely interesting. We've seen them a couple times. They play a tough schedule throughout the year. They'll be fully ready for 2A. And Tremont, they're another school that just kind of stands right out to me because they've got arms. With Chase Rhodes, with
Andrew Dawson, Brady Booth.
I'm thinking
Meeker,
Brady
I think
Booth.
we'll throw a few times for him.
Yes.
Yeah.
I just think they're a team that's going to be really, really hard to beat. They've been hot recently. They've collected a number of wins. I know Westville over there on the east side of the state, over by Danville, has had a good year as well. Not sure if you guys had anything else in that sectional, but that was one for me. And then I like Chicago Hope in the Chicago sectional. Looking through them, they're a team that stood out to me all year. They've played a really hard schedule. They've got a lot of good players on that roster. And then another sectional that I thought was that Teutopolis sectional. Greenville, down there just outside of St. Louis, has had a really good year. T-Town, they're in our Power 25. They've got a bunch of good arms. Gavin Addis, I know he threw well recently. St. Anthony, coming off a state title. They're in that sectional as well. Roxana has had a good year. They've got a good arm kind of leading the way. And then Columbia, I just feel like they're a school you can never count out. They're going to always play good baseball. They're no stranger to the postseason and that sort of thing. So that was kind of my 2A rundown. 1A, Harvest Christian sectional. Just Harvest Christian in general, I think they have some of the best players in 1A. Obviously, Father McGivney, I think it starts, there as far as 1A schools and who's the favorite. They're sitting in our top 10 of the Power 25. But Harvest Christian, really talented. And then Ottawa Marquette. Like, how can you not, pay attention to Ottawa Marquette come playoffs? I feel like you can just basically book their name at state every year now, the way they've been trending. Knock on wood, I'm not trying to jinx anybody over here. And then Arcola sectional, Gibson City, Mount Pulaski, Arcola with Tanner Thomas, Armstrong with Traxton Roberts. You got Salt Fork over there by Danville. That's always a tough team. Salt Fork's just a good athletic program for being like that smaller school. They're always good at football. They're always a team to watch. And then the Cobden sectional, Waltonville got the 1 seed. They're led by Brandon Menser. They already took down St. Anthony early on in the year with Brandon Menser on the mound. So I just feel like they could beat anybody with him on the mound. And then Goreville I saw they're I think the other one seed in that sectional. They're no stranger to state. They haven't been in a while, but gosh, when I started this, started doing this in like 2015, 2016, Goreville was kind of a power in the 1A and a team you would see at Peoria quite a bit.
All right, yeah, moving down now to some Power 25 notes this week. Had some changes in the 25 Power 25 with some newcomers coming in this week. So, Drew, if you want to kick things off, kind of, what do you got?
Sure. We probably don't have too many updates left here for the Power 25 as we're closing in on some postseason in the next few weeks, and once kind of regional championships start to go, especially for the 3A 4A, we will kind of just tone down our updates and wait till the end of the season. But man, most of these teams have close to 30 games under their belt now. So we're kind of getting there. We're getting towards the most important part of the year. Conference titles getting decided. A lot of big conference matchups this week. A lot took place last week. But I'll tell you what, the most impressive team in the state just keeps doing it, and it's Brother Rice. They're 27-1 now. Another perfect week. They went 4-0, and I know there's some teams that are on some win streaks, so feel free to get in. I don't know if Brother Rice, if it's 25 or 26 in a row now, but they are 27-1. They took 2 from Loyola last week, 7-2 and 10-0, and then they also kind of made a huge statement with 2 wins over Providence as well. They won 5-2 and then 5-4. So they're doing a little bit of everything. They're pitching it good enough. They're hitting. I know early on in the year they were hitting over 400 as a team. I don't know what that number stands at right now, but they are leading the state. I think that's like the clear and obvious number one, and it's everybody else right now. And then right behind them, there are some really good teams with some good records. Libertyville, they did lose last week, but they're still 24-3, and they remain at number 2 in the state. Manuka's 25-3. They had a 4-1 week with some impressive wins. Like they knocked off Lincoln Way East 11-7. They also took down Lincoln Way Central 7-5. They took 2 from a very solid Plainfield North team rather easily. So I felt like that was kind of a statement week there for Manuka. And then you've got St. Lawrence climbing, which I'm going to let you guys get in on St. Lawrence and any other teams that you have here. And I may jump back in on any other nuggets I have.
Yeah, St. Lawrence staying in that CCL Blue. They're now up to number 4, 4-0 week. And just like Brother Rice had 2 big-time wins over Provi, so did St. Lawrence. They also swept Mount Carmel in the same week. But big series this week, it is them and Brother Rice this week. They're both 10-0 in conference, so basically the CCL Blue Championship Series this week. So that's going to be a mega series. 2 can't-miss games. So anybody in the area that, enjoys high school baseball, those are 2 games I would suggest getting out and seeing this week. But, Gav, I can toss it over to you for Father McGivney.
Yeah, they continue to rise. They're up to number 7 now after a 3-0 week. They're 28-2 on the year, and I mean, I've said it. I think the past couple weeks they're outscoring teams. Just like they've scored like well over 200 runs, and they just don't allow many runs either. So they just keep doing it offensively, and they look like one of the top teams in the state, no doubt.
Yeah. And then moving down to Lamont here, they're actually back to where we had them preseason at number 8. They had a big 4-0 week, and I actually got to see their game where they took down Lincoln Way West 5-0. But the thing with them is they just were kind of slow to have games played basically, so their record really wasn't standing out for a while. And now, I mean, they have a ton of games under their belt, and they're 22-3-1, and they really passed the eye test. So Lamont up to number 8 now.
Yeah, and then looking at a couple of Central Illinois teams here, Normal Community, they jump up 3 spots to number 12, 5-0 week, and one of those wins was against in a shutout over their crosstown rival, Normal U High, who was number 23 at the time, and I was at that game. And I mean, they got Jonah Roper back, who was kind of hurt. I think he got hurt maybe last year, and he's finally back now pitching for them, and he pitched in that game. So getting an arm like that back, I mean, the team they already have offensively, they're really impressive. So They're moving up to number 12 now. And then St. Joe Ogden is up to 15, up 2 spots, 29-2 record, 5-0 week, and a big win over Monticello, 4-2. They've got a lot of pitching depth. They got some really good bats in the lineup too. They just win, and they're always one of those teams around here that just finds a way to win a lot of games. But they got a really good team this year, and I'm excited to kind of see how they do come playoff time. And but yeah, St. Joe Ogden up to number 15.
Yeah, and then 2 more notable risers in this week's Power 25. The first one being St. Francis. They now break the top 20, sitting at number 20 after going 4-0 last week. But to me, what stands out with St. Francis is they outscored their opponents last week 50-8. I don't care who you're playing. If your offense is going to do that and your pitching staff's going to allow 2 runs a game, you got a chance to beat anybody on your schedule. So to me, that's really impressive with St. Francis. They just continue to do it. Mundelein moving up 2 spots. Now, it was a 3-1 week, but one of those wins was giving Fremd their first loss of the year, which also shout out to Fremd, making it all the way into May without losing a game. Nothing to be ashamed of there, but yeah, the Mustangs keep doing it. They're a team to watch up there in the North Suburban Conference.
Yeah, I mean, one thing that I noticed while writing the story this week was all the win streaks that these guys are on. Like, some of these are mind-blowing. Like, we kind of already talked about Brother Rice. They're on a 25-game win streak. St. Lawrence is on a 20. Father McGivney, 26. Lamont, 12. Normal Community, 12. St. Joseph Ogden, 23. And then St. Francis, who got in last week, they're at a 17-game win streak. So just some crazy numbers here. And then, yeah, I mean, moving down here, Gav, to the newcomers, Grace Lake Central's getting in at number 18. They're 21-5, and they had a 4-0 week, but their highlight of the week was they took down number 2 Libertyville 6-4. So making their debut at number 18, and they're always a team to watch this time of year as well.
Yeah, and Teutopolis is coming in at number 22. They had a really big week last week. They're sitting at 22-4 right now, 3-1 week with a win over at the time number 6 Edwardsville and Glenwood. So far this year, they're outscoring teams 225-71. They've got some arms. So, yeah, good team there in 2A. And then Nashville coming in at number 25. They're 24-1 on the year. They had a 4-0 week, and they are outscoring teams 217-59, and they are 9-0 in conference play. So, good stuff there from 2 Southern Illinois teams. Kind of, I guess Teutopolis isn't really entirely Southern Illinois, is it, Drew?
I considered it. I would consider it central to Southern.
Yeah.
Just the fact that it's down there at Effingham, yeah. It's not like the St. Louis Metro East area, but 2A schools that are firmly making a case here as teams to watch. And by the time you guys watch this podcast, hopefully we'll have seen Nashville this week. Trying to get a look at them on Monday, just to really gauge and get an even better idea of what all they're working with.